Always great to visit with Brit Miller and Eric Smith from BECK TECH. This is the Behind the Lens podcast. We bring it to you every month here on News Radio 101 FM and also online at DecaturRadio.com. Always great to visit with the guys to talk about security, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of stuff going on in the state of Illinois. And we would just want to, highlight different ways that you can protect yourself, protect your business, protect your friends and family. And these are the experts, and these are the guys you want to talk to when it comes to home security, business security, and much more. And it's great to welcome you guys back in the studio. It feels like a lifetime since we've visited.
It might have been.
Yeah. Hey,
it's good to be back.
Yeah, we're
great
having
to be
fun
back
every day and making things happen. I'll tell you what, it does go fast. I mean, we're in the middle of June, late side of June here, and I'll tell you what, it's flying by.
Can you believe how fast this month has already flown? We're already closing in on 4th of July weekend, and a lot of people are going to be out and about. And it's really strange because during the summer months, and this actually is a great jumping off point, during the summer months, man, a lot of people are gone from home. A lot of people are not around the house. They're out on the boat. They're out, in the RV, and they're camping and going on vacations and doing different things, and people may think of BECK TECH as a large company that only deals with businesses and schools and government entities, but man, you can help them out at home too, right?
Big time. So, one of the things that we've kind of naturally fell into is whenever we do a good job at the people's workplaces, or they see us at their schools or see us at their hospitals, our technicians are proud BECK TECH employees. They live the brand. We do preach that quite a bit. Eric's great with that with the sales guys, and what's happened kind of naturally is we've ended up in more and more homes, but we do want to be upfront with it, because what happens is we're not those fly by night guys. We're community members, right? And I do see some things out there, and I always encourage, even if it's not from us, you definitely need security cameras, and we do take it to the next level with like access control. Like, how easy is it to roll up now to your house and just have your phone in your pocket and your door unlocks? I mean, we can do all that, but back to the surveillance piece. We live in an insurance and financial driven world, right? I mean, liability is a huge issue, whether it's your kids. If, I have a swim pool at my house, never grew up with one. So really had to kind of change how we, even operate our household. We're interesting, we're in a tournament with the boys this weekend, and up in Peoria. Okay. But of course my whole family's at my pool, right? And so right. And that we love it, right? Because that's what it's there for. We want people to use it and have that communal ground. But it's always nice just to be able to log into our camera system and take a look and see what's going on, right? And and I have teenagers now, and I know those days are coming more hot and heavy. So to be able to kind of monitor your home, whether you're away or whether you're just in your living room and want to look out to the pool, you have that kind of sense of security and safety. But what you're really protecting is your assets. You're protecting that liability.
Right.
And, a lot of people will do that at work and then go home and totally forget that concept. But we're big proponents of, hey, protect yourself at work, protect yourself at the house, protect yourself in the vehicle, any way that you have the ability to say, hey, that was not my fault. It's a weird way of thinking, but for me anyway, but understanding that side of the world, the insurance and liability side, make sure you have, surveillance cameras. Make sure they know the truth, because whenever somebody talks, then somebody else talks. The truth often falls in the middle, and I listen to Eric say that so many times in meetings. The truth is on film. And, in my football world, the film doesn't lie, boys. That's what happens. That's what you are. That's what it is. So why wouldn't we take that same concept into our home lives?
Yeah, and it's about being proactive too, right? And a lot of times nothing may happen, but it's there. It's the just in case, right?
You can scroll through and not see anything for an extended period
for
of
days
time.
and days and days, months, years, whatever. It's for that one day or that whatever that incident that happens. Not only that, it also helps our community policing, right? Our police officers. It's another resource for them to go and actually seek out the truth, when they're doing their investigations, and see what's actually happening and going on. And then back to the insurance liability portion of this, you're going to have to present evidence, right? If you don't have evidence, it's hard to make your case. Video is the top thing that always gets asked asked of us to be provided by police or whatever is that video evidence and providing that case or, that truth in the video.
How does that exactly work? Is there, obviously everything's stored on a server and everything's saved someplace.
So, really where we're at, a lot of businesses, like the jails and the, juvenile detention centers, those are the people that are living on premise now with servers. A lot of what we do is in the cloud because now we have the Azure cloud, which is government certified at the federal level through Motorola. So what happens there is there's something called chain of command. And so the chain of command or chain of evidence is the fact that they're going to be able to go directly to the source, which is the cloud, understand that video has not been tampered with. And if somebody does try to tamper with that video, there's going to be a log. So the truth is the truth. There's the days of like having a good old boy system. Hey, can you come erase this off my server? That doesn't exist anymore, right? There's forensic scientists and investigators that understand every click of every button. And we log that with all of our professional grade systems. And so we love that because we know it's the truth. And from a liability standpoint, even from our business, we understand that, the truth is the truth. And we're going to give that to a bigger entity, a la the government or the, Azure cloud. And that chain of command stays in place the whole time for evidence. Because there are, lawyers, they understand like if surveillance footage isn't what we call time stamped, I think most of our time stamping happens about 24 times a second, depending on the frame rate. And if any of those timestamps are missing, that could cause an evidentiary, issue, right?
Right.
And so the fact that we use these higher tier products and higher tier backends, it makes it, once again, like Eric said, it's a proactive step, in my opinion, to making sure the truth is what you get in the end.
Absolutely right. We're visiting with Brit Miller and Eric Smith from BECK TECH Communications, a BECK company. It is the Behind the Lens podcast at DecaturRadio.com. It has to be amazingly challenging to navigate keeping documentation for everything from a variety of sources, not only from our local police department, but also on that county department, but also on that state level, but also on that federal level as well, too.
Yeah, from an evidence side, there's a lot of programs that are out there that they use now, from collecting the evidence off your phone, from your laptop, from your computer, from the video cameras, from the NVR and the storage. Motorola has all of that, and it is based, the Azure or even Amazon cloud. They have a lot of software and a lot of programs that do that for us now. Technology makes it a lot easier for us to do this, for them to do this as well too. I know they're moving to, like Decatur PD's moving to a new software platform that's going to do all this for them as well too.
Nice.
And which, like I said, it's a proactive thing. Technology is always getting better and helping us in our market, right? In the security market, making our lives a little bit easier and helping the policing, helping the courts, helping the everyday person, right? Because you never know that video could save your life one day. It could exonerate you from an incident, and that actually happened with our systems. I'm not going to go into details, but
sure,
we spent lots and lots of times
because of the government.
A lot of time,
we can't.
But we do have real life, scenarios in which that has happened within the last year or two. That's helped our customers and our clients and even residential customers.
And I remember a few years ago, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, that the Decatur Police Department was requesting anybody who has, if you have security cameras, let us know. We will only in the event of a situation would we want to have access to those cameras. So it is still private. It is your still proprietary information, but it is also available to them to help resolve a crime in case something like that comes up.
Yeah, they're not looking at your cameras all day long. They're looking for incidents. They can pull in the Ring doorbells. Those types of cameras, our cameras, whatever cameras you got from Sam's Club or whatever it may be. Right? If there's an incident, there's a lot of time saved by having access to your cameras or having the ability to get that video feed they don't have to drive out to your house and door knock and spend hours at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. trying to wake you up to get this evidence. And that person could be down the road. They could be a city away by the time they get this evidence, right? In the older days. Now it's at our fingertips, and they can see, because our cameras are so smart, via person, vehicle, the AI that we have, or a lot of these camera manufacturers have embedded in their software. They can track this person down within minutes.
Yeah, and so, back to what you said about that, we're not always viewing them. That is correct. So what we call that as our public-private partnership, right? So anytime a business invests, especially like a downtown business, and we've got a lot of takers. I mean, some businesses down here and property owners that really get it. They get it.
Right.
And what happens is now, if something happens, we can go back in an instant and go search for that person who broke in, to whatever building down here, or the car that keeps coming by that's a little too fast. I mean, so that public-private partnership is a little bit of trust given. And what's typical is we work with the police department and their side of that surveilling team, along with the business owners down here. We say, look, we would really like to give access to your exterior cameras to the police. And if that's okay with you, well, Mr. Customer, we'll have you sign this form. Everything that happens on the inside of your business should probably be yours. And we can do that, right? We don't have to give everything to everybody all the time. And so that's a improvement in how video has evolved, right? But what it's done in many cases, like Eric said, we had some vandalism right up the road on 51 South, and we found it, and so we get a call from the customer. Why do I have graffiti all over us? And so we put a little, we draw a square around the door, and we want to know when that door changed from graffiti to non-graffiti,
right,
or vice versa. And of course, we have a young person that comes up, spray paints, looks around, does the next one, looks around, we see which way they exit, and we go ahead, and that's one of our friends' business, so we went ahead and sent that off to the police and for them, and it was just one of those things where you'd have never known had you not had cameras. And now they have the ability, once again, back to that insurance piece, if it's not your fault and you are paying insurance to protect your building from some sort of vandalism, what have you, then now we have that at our fingertips, and we can prove that it's not us out here doing that.
Absolutely right. And that's what's so important about it, because, again, visiting with Brit Miller and Eric Smith from BECK TECH Communications, a BECK company, for the Behind the Lens podcast, that's what's so important about protecting yourself, protecting your business, but also, again, it goes back to protecting your home as well, too, because, things got a little weird over the weekend on a national scale, but it all goes back to, and you can have whatever you believe about politics and everything else like that. We got a lot of people in this country who we don't know exactly what could possibly happen. It's unfortunate, but that's what the world we live in at this particular point in time. And you want to be able to protect yourself, and it goes back to, something that Dan at the Bullet Trap and I talk about all the time with situational awareness, being aware. But what better way to protect yourself at home or your business or your remote property? Maybe you've got property somewhere elsewhere around the country. But, being able to protect yourself and being aware of the things that are going on around you is really what it's all about.
Yeah, and I know, Britt, you were in Peoria this weekend.
Yep.
I was in downtown Chicago when all this happened, and I know I'm safe because I know that's a Motorola town, right?
Right.
I know there's cameras on every street corner, whether you agree with it or not. I know what they're running on the back end. I know that from a dispatching standpoint, they're running Motorola and that they're trying to have as quick as response times as possible. So technology actually favors us and helps us out in these situations, and it helps our policing, even from a size of Decatur, to a Motorola or Lincoln.
It's a protection thing.
Cerro Gordo to a St. Louis, Chicago, New York, style, population. And it's always good. You got to have some situational awareness around you, and that's what it's about. It's about the public-private partnership that we've kind of collaborated here in Decatur, even in Lincoln. They've done a really good job. Our cameras around the square are in certain places to help mitigate violence, graffiti, vandalism, drug use. that type of thing. So technology really helps out our city and other cities.
And Jeff,
around.
Just pure honesty here. We don't have enough police officers, right?
No,
Like no town does.
And they will gladly tell you that.
And no town does. We're not the the exception to that rule. But the dirty little secret is that cameras don't sleep.
Yeah.
And so what happens is now we truly believe in that situational awareness piece, because so it's twofold, right? Something bad's happening. We got to say you have an active aggressor somewhere, in a city. Well, if we have enough cameras, we're going to be able to know where that person's at. We're going to be able to vacate people very quickly. The other piece of that is now whenever officers are showing up on scene, they know what they're looking for. They don't have to assess, every individual that's running. We know exactly who we're looking for. We know exactly where they're headed or where they've been. So that gives them all the tools that they need to go do what they do. Right. And so the fact that we can provide that not only with the surveillance side, there's instances where we have the ability through our phones to lock every single door in a school district, to lock every single door in an apartment building, in a downtown building. So if there is an issue happening, you're not running to the front door to lock a door and becoming a target anymore, right?
Right.
What you are is you're hiding in that back room, hitting your button and hoping it all goes by. And we can't predict what other people are going to do.
Right.
And that's what I always tell people. I didn't put myself in this situation. You put me in this situation. So now we have to deal with this situation. But when we have situational awareness, we can truly choose to not be there whenever things are happening. And so not only is it good for
you can remove yourself from that situation.
Right. Yes, with proper knowledge, but without that knowledge, you never have a chance.
That's
You're
exactly
stuck,
right.
And so whether it's your house, whether it's the school that your children attend, whether it's the business that you work in, these are all measures that these people are taking now, the people that are getting it done. And it's just a good idea to think about, right? Like if you're not on that path right now and you want to live the good old days, that's fine. But the reality is a lot of criminals understand that. They will target homes that do not have cameras. They will target businesses that do not have cameras because they understand. Most people have that general knowledge now that if they see a camera up there, they're going to know. And fake cameras, that's still a thing, right? We do not promote fake cameras. If you have a fake camera, please take it down because anybody that knows cameras can look at it and know that it's not real. I don't care if you plug in a cable or anything. We know.
That's got to kill you because it's like, fake camera.
We saw a lot of that when we first started.
Yeah.
Everybody said, we'll just put a fake camera. It's like,
it's
not going to do anything for you.
What does that accomplish
for
you? Because in the end, you need to be able to, track a timeline and have, it's like I remember, 10 years ago, seeing the Russian video cams because apparently all the Russians put video cameras in their cars,
Yes.
because they were all driving like lunatics, and it's like, but that's still a thing. And we now see that more and more in this day and age as well here in the United States.
Oh, I mean, just policing my own children. I mean, what do I got Life 360. Make no mistake, when those Miller kids get in a vehicle, I'm going to know where they're at. And I do that actually for a lot of my athletes. I mean, I still got guys that, have went on to college that I'll see out at 2 a.m. on Life 360, and I go ahead and give them a little text. Hey boys,
why don't you get your butt home?
Yeah, I mean, is this getting you ready? Do you want to stay ready for football, or you want to be a party boy?
Especially if it's going to be 90 degrees outside. You guys ready to throw up? Yeah, have some fun.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're going to reap what you sow. So, but that's the world we live in now,
Yes.
and it's a different world than all of us have kind of come up in. But I will say that in the end, I sleep so much better knowing that I have the ability to protect my family,
right,
to protect my business, and to help others protect themselves as well. I mean, it's something that we truly enjoy.
Absolutely, and I'm considerably older than both of you gentlemen. I'm just letting you know, but I understand it, and I appreciate the technology, and it's great that you've got a great partner with Motorola partnership with Motorola because they have grown beyond so much more than what they used to be with just like the cell phones and things like that. They are a premier provider.
They are the premier provider.
Of safety and security, because in the end, everybody wants to protect themselves. It goes back to that insurance thing that we were talking about. Because you want to protect yourself and protect your family, but you also want to protect your assets.
Big time. I
and
mean,
they're like I would say, the Apple of security, right?
That's a great way of putting it.
I think that would be a great comparison. Is
right.
that they're constantly acquiring more and more companies. They just spent $4 billion this month or late last month on another company, another software company that's doing a mesh network. It's very encrypted, high-level stuff for government, military. Eventually that'll trickle down into our consumer market here at some point and be kind of a watered-down product for us versus the military or the government assets. But they are the premier. They're the ones that everybody is chasing. It's really hard
but
for competitors to keep up because they look at the market and say, what are we missing? What do we need to grab? What do we need to partner up with? And they grab them and pull them in and say, all right. They take it to R&D and they say, how can we fit this into our whole ecosystem, which our ecosystem is, 60 plus companies now that can tie doors to cameras to
radios
to clean air sensors to vape detection to concealed weapons detection stuff, right? So,
wow.
I mean, we have everything. Everything's is a layered approach.
But, how does that translate to a consumer standpoint?
So, I mean, I think with it being summertime and us being in,
because I think about, mom and dad go on vacation and you're at a resort or, out in the woods or whatever. You got two-way radios. Everybody can take a two-way radio with them.
And so, and the other thing, two-way radios have emergency signals on them now. So we can actually, we have GPS capabilities on basically every professional series radio we have that can locate you down to 6 inches. I know, right?
Jeez.
And, but, that's important, right? So real life example, over there in Champaign, they had to fly in a medevac and they were in a cornfield. Unfortunately, an accident happened out in a cornfield and no real crossroads very close. And so what they did was they hit their GPS button on the radio and they landed that chopper within 6 feet of where they brought them in, where we send the signal from. And
That's
it was
amazing.
phenomenal, right?
That's
and so
amazing.
That reduction in time gets people, life flighted very quickly. But even into the school scenario, right? Eric always talks about that layered approach. And what we do is we really want to extend that security, right? So we have what they call evolved weapons detection. This is another layer that we've pushed out further. So before you even enter the building, what you're doing is you're starting to, you've been on our cameras by the time you've come into the building itself, to that physical building. And now what we're going to make you do is you're going to walk through this, what we call the evolved weapons detection. And so what happens there is you walk through, it's not a metal detector, so we're not worried about pacemakers, we're not worried about health issues anymore. It's family friendly. You can have multiple people walk through at once, 1,800 people an hour, right? And so what happens there is you walk through and we're using our RF, our radio frequency algorithms, and we're looking for things that look like weapons. And what happens is a guy walks through, and if he has a weapon on him, that officer that's monitoring that, whether it's right on site or, from like some sort of security SOC, can actually see what side of the weapon it is, or what side of the person that weapon is on, where it's located, and approximately how big it is, right? So whenever you have a security guard approaching you, if you're a criminal, we, once again, situational awareness. We know what side we need to go to and make sure he can't reach for that weapon. We know how big that weapon is. We know if it could be a bomb. Right? And so these are mass casualty things that we're trying to avoid, but it's very family friendly. It doesn't look like you're walking into a prison. It looks like you're walking into Disney World.
Most people probably have already walked through them.
And don't even know.
Several times didn't even know it.
And
they're at Six Flags. They're at Wrigley Field. So I was up there this weekend, walked through it. Soccer stadium in St. Louis has them, right?
School
you
districts
go
all
to
over
the Cardinal game
have
tonight,
them.
you're going to walk through something to get into that stadium, or Ballpark Village, or whatever it may be, right? Or whatever the center is down there, hospitals. Yeah. We're already walking through them, and it's creating a safer environment, a public environment, for us to be able to gather 40,000 people together and not have to worry about it.
Well, and the other thing, and if you are a law-abiding citizen and you are, if you're in the state of Illinois and you're a CCL holder, you got nothing to fear, because all they're going to do is they're going to ask you, and there is nothing, and so people shouldn't be freaked out by this. It is the world we live in this day, and that's why. But it's great that people become aware of it because in the end, we all want to be safe and live our lives as freely as we want to be.
And we want our children to be safe. I mean, let's be honest. Like, my safety is of no consequence when it comes to me thinking about my children.
Right.
And so the environments that they're in, I mean, that's where I want to know that there's no goon walking around going to be a tough guy today, or have a bad moment,
right?
Because I don't want to put my children in those environments.
Yeah.
Like that's what we all aspire to. I don't think I know one human being that doesn't want that, right?
Absolutely.
And so, and if you're a concealed weapons, a carrier, that is fine, but you're not bringing them into schools. You're not supposed to bring it into hospitals.
Right.
You're probably
Right.
not taking it to work.
Right.
Those are the places that are affected by that. But, understand this. Now, we have a bunch of cameras out there that can detect weapons.
Yes.
And so whenever that weapon is brandished, we will know in about 3 seconds that weapon has been drawn. And we're going to know that. And now, once again, those police officers can show up understanding that there is a weapon in play, and now another level of force becomes available, right?
Absolutely.
And another way to protect us as citizens of these cities and towns and everything else. They know that that's the level they're going to have to go at that assailant with. And that's comforting to me.
Absolutely, because in the end, it's looking for the bad guys.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking for the bad guys. If you are a law-abiding citizen, you have nothing to fear. But if you're a criminal, man, odds are you're being watched. And so
we're going to
be
find
ready
you
for it.
quick enough. I mean,
Always a few bad apples.
yeah, we crack up.
There
at the
is
things people,
always more than a few bad apples.
I know.
But
We laugh at some of the things we see sometimes. The
yeah, I was
graffiti.
gonna say,
The lady that was spraying graffiti on the wall, and we had to track down someone throwing rocks at a government car, last summer, and tracked him down the street. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and they're always surprised that they're on camera.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I never even thought about that. That's amazing.
But that statistic is still
Yeah.
real. So 5 years ago, it was one camera for every 4 people. Today, it's about 1 to 1. So
Nice.
one camera for every person that's in this, the Midwest. And then, in 5 years from now, they're saying it's going to be 5 cameras for every person. And you know why I am okay with that? Yes, it is good for business. But the reality is it gives us actionable results.
Right.
It gives us the ability to train better. So if something isn't handled properly, we can say this is exactly where it went wrong. It's not just a personal opinion. It's just not that guy trying to save his job and or something like that. It's the facts.
Yeah,
And that's why we love
it's going to
it.
be first-person video is the next
Right.
wave. Is the police have it, call it body camera footage, right?
Right.
We're seeing churches go to first-person video, retail, hospitals, because those are the 2 biggest markets that are affected by violent crime in the ER and in retail.
Oh, I feel for the
Churches.
a lot of stories.
We have a couple guys at a big mega church in Indiana today actually discussing body camera
And church
footage
security.
in churches for church
Well, you
security.
saw that over the weekend.
I know.
Where there's shooting, potential shooting, and it took one person to actually do it. But that could have been averted if there had been more video that
Exactly.
was available or
the
detection
situational
systems.
awareness,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
and most people don't. They walk in ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's not like if there's going to be an active aggressor situation, they're not hiding the fact that they're there to do damage.
Right.
And so the further we can extend out our surveillance, the further we can extend out any kind of security measure, that's what we want to do because we want to keep them further away from the people that are most at risk.
Right.
And so the video piece is huge. We have the ability for license plate recognition. So, somebody goes missing and we have a vehicle that we think we're looking for. We're going to know as soon as it hits those cameras within 3 seconds where they're headed.
Nice.
And then the next camera, the next camera, the next camera. So, say you have an abduction of some sort. We actually do have an abduction on film, and we were that person was brought back because they knew the point of origin. Now it was in a smaller town and they did take off, but they knew the general direction they went in.
Right.
They were able to cast that net and really drill down and get that person back. So those are the things that I don't think we take them for granted, but they're more common for us now to be a part of those measures. Like, yeah, we might have sold that camera 3 years ago, but I guarantee you they didn't think that was going to happen on it.
It's a problem-solving issue.
It is.
It really is. Guys, we are up against it, but I really appreciate you guys coming in and look forward to another visit next month. But if folks want to find out more about how to protect themselves, protect their businesses, how do they get a hold of you guys?
428-7000, 217-428-7000. Go to our website, BECKTECHIL.com.
BECK TECH, Brit Miller, Eric Smith. Thanks, guys. Great visit
Thank
last
you.
week.
Appreciate
Look
it.
forward to seeing again. Eric Smith and Brit Miller from BECK TECH, a Barbeck company It's Decatur Today, and of course, it is DecaturRadio.com. It's the Behind the Lens podcast on News Radio 101 FM and DecaturRadio.com.
Safety and communication are more vital than ever. At BECK TECH Illinois, they partner with Motorola Solutions to provide cutting-edge communications so teams keep connected, informed, and safe. BECK TECH is solving for safer. When your workers are doing road repairs, technicians are repairing electrical lines, security personnel are patrolling parking lots, or the school resource officer is making the rounds. With Motorola Solutions, Moto Turbo mobile radios will keep your teams connected. BECK TECH Illinois creates safer environments for our communities so that every voice is heard and every life is protected. BECK TECH Illinois and Motorola Solutions, working together for a safer tomorrow. Contact them at BECKTECHIL.com.